This video is coming out a little late because I had to go to the hospital again because I was having issues with like stomach problems and stuff, and it's kind of solved, but had to take some medicine for that. But I think my goal for this year, like one of my number one, is to be a better person. I kind of miss the person I used to be in some ways, and I know I've grown a lot since then, but I feel like I used to be a certain way, and I used to be a lot more, you know, good. I mean, I think 2020 and 2021 has turned me kind of cold, and it's not necessarily blaming that, but a lot of things happened in those 2 years, both personal and pandemic and everything else, that made it so I just became more cold. I used to be more open, used to be more warm, I used to be more transparent, and I feel like I've reverted to like a very reserved, shy person. It's just weighed on me because I feel like there's so much more I could be doing, and like trying to become more warm and more open like I was before, but not necessarily being the person I used to be, but just taking some parts from that and taking some parts from the new person that I am and kind of putting them together and making it work, and being more stern, because back then, even though I was more warm and open and I was like more willing to talk to people, more willing to make friends, things like that, I also had issues with opening up, and I had issues with being transparent or standing up for myself. I tend to be a pushover. And so now I'm less of a pushover and I stand up for myself, and there's a lot of benefits to that. But I also feel like I get upset easily more. And part of that is depression and, everything else. But I wonder if there's a way like I can improve myself. I think anyone can, but I really want to improve myself. I want to be a better partner. I want to be a better person. And looking into the ways to do that, like with this being my number one goal, the biggest thing for me right now is making sure that I'm actively making those changes, keeping my book together, going through my journal, and looking at things like some traits that I notice that are negative or don't really benefit me much. I tend to be very self-deprecating and hard on myself and a perfectionist, and I've talked about that in previous videos, but it makes it harder for me to make music or to create, and I want to be able to create. I'm an artist through and through. If it's not music, it's sketching. If it's not sketching, it's photography. If it's not photography, it's making something. It's just how I am. And so trying to embrace that and being less of that perfectionist and being okay with things maybe not working the way I want them to all the time, I think I can get some more benefit from that. Also, don't mind that I'm in the bathroom. It's just the quietest place since my office area is very loud, so we're hanging out here. But yeah, those are some of the things I think about, and just like how much I kind of had to do to get to this point, because like I have had really bad asthma my whole life. I was basically considered disabled. I was disabled. I really couldn't like work or do things. I couldn't go to school. I was in a children's ward like 6-7 months of the year, just fighting to live. And that gave me a lease on life when I hit high school and started getting a little better, to like do more stuff. And now it's catching up to me a lot because that was 10 years ago, and now I want to do and try everything. But there was so much I missed when I was sick, and I think like I got really optimistic and then I got really cold, and now I want to just be somewhere more in the middle, where it's okay to have a healthy pessimism with some things. Pessimism, goodness gracious. It's okay to be a pessimist every once in a while, to be a little skeptical, to be a little concerned, to have concerns, to ask questions. It's okay. But it's also okay to be more optimistic and have that balance. And I think I went from like optimism up here to like pessimism down here. So I'm trying to find a balance and be more open with myself, be more honest with myself, be okay with things not looking the best, be okay with my sketches not always being great, be okay with picking through a bunch of pictures, trying to find the right one that works, being okay with taking criticism, like from my partner, or constructive criticism from work, or anything like that. Just being more okay with those things, and also knowing what is good advice and what isn't, and not being so stubborn. So that's kind of what I was thinking about. I know it's kind of shorter today, but oh man, I've been really sick and it's been having me ponder like all these things going on in my life between the car accident and getting sick and my ceiling flooding and all this stuff. Like, how do I become a better person from this? How do I learn the lesson from it? And what do I do to change some of those negative behaviors, some of those self-deprecating thoughts, some of those things like, oh, I deserve this, or anything negative like that? And remember where I came from, where I'm going, and why I'm doing it. I want to get better at videos. I want to get better at art. I want to get better at music. And the only way to do that is just to keep trying. And also just outside of the art world and work, just being better and standing up, because something that I find really important, and I used to only stand up when it was absolutely necessary, and I think it's important for people to stand up more, especially now. Yeah, so I'm standing up, trying to do better, and one of my biggest goals of this year is being a better person. I'll see you tomorrow.